Welcome to the 2 Cents Podcast. I'm your host, Jay Richardson, and we are about to kick off the next episode. I cannot wait, like Dr. Dre says. Listen, this is going to be an interesting episode because there's a few footnotes and things I got to get through before we get into what we're all here for, especially around this time of year, which is college football and the Buckeyes. But first things first, the NCAA is at it again. Always trying to do something slick just when we think we got a shot and we think we're moving towards a more progressive situation where we're going to start taking care of these young athletes and we're going to start really letting people earn the value that they bring in. Everything changes and everything gets a little murky, and when we figure the rules out, they change the rules. What I mean is this. NCAA implemented what LeBron James characterized as the Rich Paul rule. Why is it called the Rich Paul rule? Well, let's break down the rule first. You know, they're always trying to cling to this archaic model of amateurism. As we know, NCAA sent out a memo to all NBA agents on Monday, and what they're basically telling their agents is we want control over who men's college basketball players can hire when these guys are thinking about going pro. So back in 2018, the NCAA came up with a rule that basically said any players who are in college and they're considering the NBA draft, but they want to keep their options open to returning to college, can retain the services of an agent specifically for testing the draft waters. That's it. You get the agent and you say, hey, look, I want you to tell me where it is you think I'm going to go in the draft. Should I stay in school or should I go? And then the agent says, yeah, you know what? I think you got a shot. Or no, go back to class. And that's basically what's happening right now, or what's been happening the last couple of years. Well, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but there's this agent who's really, really good friends with LeBron James, and this agent has a fantastic client list. Includes guys like LeBron himself, AD Anthony Davis, John Wall, Draymond, Ben Simmons, Miles Bridges, a couple other guys. His name is Rich Paul. And the reason he's important is because the NCAA specifically changed the rule, and there's a new criteria for if you want to represent freshmen who are now about to go into their sophomore year and test the draft waters. And not even just freshmen, I assume it's just any underclassmen, right? The new criteria is this. If you want to be an agent that wants to represent one of these guys, you have to have a bachelor's degree, flat out. Got to have a bachelor's degree, got to have been to college and graduated. You also have to be certified with the NBPA, which is the Players Association, for a minimum of 3 years. And just to be, annoying about it, you got to take an in-person exam at the NCAA office in Indianapolis. Why? Because why not be annoying when you can be and you're the NCAA? Why not make it a little bit more difficult? Why? Specifically why? Because they know that Rich Paul does not possess a bachelor's degree. Why does he not possess this? Well, if you know a little bit about Rich Paul, you know a little bit about LeBron James and where they grew up in Akron and the circumstances they grew up in, college was not available to Rich Paul. Him and LeBron met later on. LeBron was a high school junior, about 17 years old. Rich Paul was 21. They became friends. He was someone that was very talented, very smart. LeBron reveres this guy, and they're literally best friends, childhood friends in a sense. But what he said about Rich Paul was, I didn't care about his lack of degrees and all that. He was smart, he was driven, and he outworked everybody in the room every time we did anything. That is a specific quote from LeBron James. So LeBron partnered up with him, let him be his agent, and before you knew it, they built an empire. And now they have some of the top players in the NBA underneath them in their agency. And Rich Paul is now, pretty much the go-to guy for, to me, all things basketball. And, he's also getting some of these young guys coming out of college, getting them shoe deals and $1 million internships. And these are guys who want to go overseas and not go straight into the NCAA. Well, the NCAA is obviously very, very threatened by someone of his talents and someone who has his kind of basketball cachet behind him. So what do? What do you do when you have all the power and you can control the rules and someone is within those rules and doing very, very well and you don't want them to do well? You know what you do. You change the rules. So the NCAA just changes the rules. LeBron thought this was very laughable. He tweeted about it yesterday. You're not going to stop us, something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing here, you ain't stopping nothing here. We're going to keep building our empire. The show's going to go on. And I know exactly what LeBron means. He means this. Okay, Rich doesn't have a degree, so he specifically and personally cannot represent some of these kids. You know what you can do, right? You just hire guys who do have degrees to work underneath Rich. and you let them go, and you let them sign these kids, and you let them basically help these kids test the waters, and you run it all through Rich anyway, so nothing really changes. The NBA hasn't stopped anything because any rule can be circumvented, as we learned from our good president. Any type of rule has loopholes. All corporations know this. So that's what I'm sure they'll be doing, and this won't change anything. But it's important to note that these are the kinds of things that happen when there's an institution in position of power that wants to keep a specific person or persons out of power. This is how the world works. Which brings us really to our next topic, which is amateurism and the NCAA. And when is this going to change? Like, when is this cycle? And I'm going to do a completely separate podcast about this, where we're going to really break down amateurism and the NCAA and professionalism, and what is professionalism, what is amateurism? Because it's not an age thing. People think it's an age thing. If you're under 21, you're an amateur. That's not true. You know how I know? Because Tiger Woods, Andy Roddick, these are all guys that were professional athletes in their teens. I repeat, these guys went pro as 16, 17-year-olds and were earning hundreds of thousands of dollars in golf tournaments and in tennis tournaments, and no one batted an eye. They thought it was fantastic because we live in a capitalist society where if you can earn a living, you should be allowed to do so, and you will get what you're worth financially if you demand it. And if you can create a demand, there will be a supply, or vice versa. Might have got that wrong. Point is this. If there's something you're good at and you can get paid to do it, you can go do it. I don't care if you're a musician. Was Taylor Swift 21 when she started earning a living in music? No. So, amateurism has nothing to do with age, or I should say professionalism has nothing to do with age. Amateurism has everything to do with where you want to earn this living. And if you want to earn it in college, well, then there comes with some rules. And that's why you're going to continue to see more and more players, like we've seen recently, a couple key top high school, 1 and 2 ranked guys left to go overseas to play, to earn coin, real dollars, tax-free in a lot of situations overseas, because they didn't want to play that, those 8 months under the NCAA, because they didn't see the point in letting the NCAA make money off of their name, their likeness, while they got what the NCAA would consider a fair trade, which is a scholarship, which is not always a fair trade. You know how I know? Because I know plenty of kids who went to a 4-year college, got a degree, and are somewhere right now trying to figure out how they're going to get a job and also how they're going to pay back those student loans. So let's not act like going to college is some gift and it's automatically going to, you're going to reap the benefits just because you graduate. Oh, no. It's much more complicated than that. But I want to get into some other news and notes before we get into the meat of this thing. Ezekiel Elliott having an interesting offseason, did not report to Dallas Cowboys training camp, has clearly decided he wants to get paid, and he should get paid. And this is always interesting when a player is in a contract dispute. It's funny. Teams love a player when they're getting them for the low, right? You're a rookie, you're a second-year player, you're outplaying your contract. The team will sing your praises. They'll tell the world how amazing you are, how hard you work. We love this guy, how smart they were for drafting you, because teams, GMs, and owners love to pat themselves on the back like they did with Zeke. Oh, man, great job by us going to get this guy. Look, he's amazing. 3 years later, when this guy is playing better than, in my opinion, any running back in the NFL, I think he makes the Dallas Cowboys go. As a former NFL defender, I can tell you without a doubt, when you are in a team meeting room, a defensive meeting room in the NFL, and you are about to play the Dallas Cowboys, do you know who you game plan for? Do you know who you sit down and scheme for? Your defensive coordinator is not game planning and scheming for Dak Prescott. Your coordinator is not game planning and scheming for Amari Cooper. Your defensive coordinator is sitting there going, how are we going to stop Ezekiel Elliott, and how are we going to stop this offensive line? That's it. That's what they want to do, because he's what makes them go. You extract him out of the equation, every other facet of that football team struggles. The numbers go down for Dak, which means the catches go down for the receivers, which means the offensive line is under a lot of stress, which means the sacks pile up, which means the defense has to be on the field longer, which means the defensive numbers go down. Those are just the real facts. That's just how it works. You want to keep this thing going, you pay the guy that is the conductor of the gravy train. That's Ezekiel Elliott. So, what happens when a player is now more valuable than a team wants him to be? Because that's what's happening right now. You know what they do. They quietly leak information. They quietly attack his character. Why do they do that, right? You'll see little stories here and there popping up over the next handful of weeks, and you have already seen some where I wouldn't say it's full-on character assassination of Zeke, but they'll definitely say, hey, listen, this is a guy that we can't always trust. And you know what? They're not always wrong, too. Zeke did, knock over a security guard. Zeke did have a domestic case, a season and a half ago. He did do these things. So he's always in the middle of something dumb, and that's on him. But when it worked to the Cowboys' benefit and he was out there playing and they didn't have to pay him extra, you know what they were saying. Zeke's a great guy. We're behind him 100%. The moment the contract dispute starts, they slowly backpedal on some of those previous comments and they slowly leak little things. Now, apparently, there's a possible suit against Zeke for a car accident in 2017, we're hearing. Who do you think leaked that information? I don't think it was the state. I don't think it was the insurance agency, or the person filing the suit. I got a feeling someone in that Cowboys organization said, you know what, let's go ahead and put that out there and just let that kind of linger out there in the social media sphere and in the media sphere period, and let people eat it up and digest it. Why? Because they want Zeke there. They just don't want to pay him what they know he's worth. So how do you take someone's worth down? You devalue them. What do? You continue to do this, his value drops, and all of a sudden he's at a market-friendly price, and he feels the pressure to come back because we saw with Le'Veon Bell, yes, he got paid by the Jets, but he did not get every dime he really wanted, nor is he maybe with the program that he really wanted to be with. So there is definitely a risk to holding out. But if you're a running back in today's running back market and just with the climate being how it is, a lot of teams have a two-back system. A lot of teams, are the league's pass happy. Running backs have lost their value. There's always some guy you can find in the fourth round who's strong and ready to go. And I think you're going to see a situation where Zeke's going to lose some coin. I hate that for him because, he's, to me, the best running back in the NFL as far as being the most complete. Not only is he big, not only is he strong, he has fantastic lateral quickness. He's got loose, fluid hips. He's got very, very strong and long hamstrings. You know how I know? Because he jumps over guys all the time. He can also hit the long ball, meaning he can take it the distance. Very few backs at his size can get you the hard in-between tackles yards, but also go outside, outrun a backside corner, and run it all into the end zone. That is a rare, rare thing, and he deserves rare, rare money for that. Next up, really, really, really quick note. Baker Mayfield, my man. I think you're a good quarterback. I really do. I think you're a good young player. I think Baker Mayfield has a bright future. I think he's got what do they call it? Moxie. He's got whatever that stuff is. He's got a little edge to him. I like that. I'm a player that played with a little edge. I ran my mouth a little bit. I enjoyed it. I like guys who can get into it. I like guys who are confident in their abilities. I think that's a good thing. I think it helps you on the field. I'll say this, though. Sometimes when I hear him talk and some of his sound bites, when you watch press conferences after Cleveland Browns practices or OTAs or training camp practices or, mini camps, he comes off as a guy that not only has been in the league for 10 years, but has made 10 Pro Bowls and won 2 Super Bowls. I mean, he addresses the media and some of his teammates as if he's been there, done that, and he hasn't been there, and he still hasn't done that. And I'm trying to figure out where that comes from. And I get it, fake it till you make it. That's where we're at as a society these days. And I also get having the confidence of somebody that has not done certain things but wants to do them. Then you have to, carry yourself that way. I understand that. But here's a lesson that I think Baker's going to learn this year, and a lot of second-year players learned. It's very easy to catch the league off guard your rookie year. It's very easy to come in, throw the ball around, run around, buy time, make some big-time plays, turn some heads because no one expected it out of you. And then next thing you know, you produce a little bit better than they thought you would because, let's be honest, most rookie quarterbacks don't come out and set the world on fire. Brett Favre didn't, Peyton Manning didn't, Tom Brady didn't, and look where they're all Hall of Famers. So I get it. But it's really difficult to do it your second year. Why is that? Well, during these football games, they're recorded. I don't know if you know this, but they're actually recorded when these games happen. They're on camera, and so the following season, the rest of the players in the NFL have this thing called film to watch, and they can break down everything you did well. They can find all your tendencies, and every single team in the NFL has at least one guy in the building who is only job, his only existence on that organization is to break down film and find all the things that the coaches and the players are going to miss. So before every game, couple days before, you'll have that guy come into your locker and go, you're playing Baker this week. Here's a few things I noticed that I don't think anyone noticed. And he's going to pick out every weakness he found, every tendency, whether it be a nod or a heel drop, or, when he scratches his left hand, man, he always goes deep on that next play. Or when he looks left, he always, they're going to have something because that's what they're paid to do. And Baker doesn't realize this yet, or maybe he does and just doesn't care, but he's going to find that year 2 is always a little bit rougher. Ask RG3. Ask a lot, or ask Vince Young, ask a lot of guys who came in and kicked butt rookie year and have not looked the same since. It's hard. It's hard to be consistent. That's why the great ones are so great. That's why, Peyton and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees, especially Drew, someone undersized like that, to be able to do that for so long is impressive, because every year, to a certain degree as a player, and that's every position, you have to reinvent yourself, and you have to add something new to your game, and you have to give them something new to watch on film. And he's going to learn that. But until then, I would tone down on the cockiness just a little bit. Don't add an extra target on your back. You already got a target on your back. You're the first pick in the draft. People already want to hurt you. If I'm a defensive end and I'm in the NFL right now and I'm listening to Baker Mayfield's interviews, I cannot wait to play the Cleveland Browns, and I can't wait to find that little, and just put my face mask through his lower back, because that's just what I would want to do, because I enjoyed hurting people. I don't know, it brings me a special kind of pleasure. But that's all I would say. Baker, take it easy, handle it on the field, let your play do the talking. We don't need to hear from your mouth. And now to what we're kind of waiting for, and I'm not going to overblow it or spend too much time on it, but I just want to get a little bit into some college football, because it's that time of the year. And my Buckeyes, my dear beloved Buckeyes, training camp officially opened up last week. Guys reported to training camps, and as usual, all the Ohio State blogs, get clips of these guys walking in to the Hyatt right down there off of Olentangy River, where they go for training camp, and you get to see the T-shirts guys wearing, all that cute stuff. I don't care about any of that stuff. I want to know what's going to happen on the field. I want to know who's going to lose their black stripe first. That's just a little tradition Ohio State has. It basically means it's like a rite of passage, basically, for young players coming in. You got to earn the right to have that stripe removed and to get your official stripe put on your helmet. All that stuff is great. But I want to know, what is this team really going to look like? Who's showing flashes? Who looks good? What is Ryan Day going to do? What kind of offense is he going to build around a guy who has a very, very different skill set than Dwayne Haskins and Justin Fields? And then I want to know, is it going to be Justin Fields? Will it be Gunnar Hoke? Is there a true quarterback competition? Well, here's a few things I've already discovered. It is going to definitely be a true quarterback competition. Ryan Day's discussed this. The position will not just be given to Justin Fields as QB1. He's going to have to earn that, and I appreciate that. And when you watch Justin Fields, and I mentioned this before, as the Georgia transfer, as his first season with Ohio State, the kid looks like a beefed up, slightly taller, definitely thicker and stronger version of Braxton Miller. And what I mean is, Braxton was a fantastic athlete. Next level lateral quickness, could make you miss, and he could sling the ball. He never got enough credit as he could for his arm strength. Was he as accurate as Haskins? Well, no, but Haskins is a very, very special, what we would consider arm talent. Whereas Braxton, I would just consider him a special athlete and also had a cannon on him. But Justin Fields, the difference with him, I think he's bigger, thicker, stronger. I think he'll be a little bit more durable. And one thing everyone has continued to say about him is, when he gets daylight, when there is a straight line in front of him, this dude is flat out fast. He is a true burner of the highest order. He will run a 4.4 or below at some point, whether it be the combine or whatever one day, and he's gonna open up eyes this year with his straight line speed. What I want him to do is open up eyes with his ability to read defenses and deliver the ball on time in an offense. And that's kind of one of the things I want to get into. We look at our receiving core. You talk about losing some fantastic players, Paris Campbell, Johnny Dixon, and then you got obviously Terry McLaurin, who, from what all reports are happening out of the Redskins training camp, is Terry McLaurin is not only going to make the team, he might be a day one starter. And that, to me, is very, very impressive. But I'm so glad one guy did not leave early, and his name is KJ Hill. KJ Hill was somebody that I thought had a real chance to leave early and be a early middle round pick, maybe late second, early third round to the New England Patriots. Maybe I think would have got him because he's the perfect slot machine for them. But he stayed, thank goodness, and we're going to need him because he's such a skilled guy. You know, there's certain guys who just have a skill set. I don't care how fast or tall you are. If you have worked on a skill set, you can bring that with you anywhere you go. KJ Hill has that. Reminds me of Antonio Holmes in that regard. But they're all saying that this guy, Garrett Wilson, incoming freshman, is going to play a big part in the team's success this year, and he's showing flashes every day. I love to see that. I also like to see reports that the offensive line, Ryan Day believes they got about 6 or 7 offensive linemen that can actually start for the team this year, and that they're going to have to just play it out in camp and expect, 5 to emerge. Whoever that top 5 is, they are not sold on yet. But the idea that they feel like they have 6 or 7 starters is fantastic because, as we all know, when you get into a college football season, a couple things are always going to hold true, especially when it comes to the offense. You're only going to go as far as your offensive line takes you. I know I'm a defensive lineman. I hate O-linemen, but I have to respect the position, and I got to respect the fact that if your O-line sucks, your team sucks, whether you know it or not. There is only so many ways you can hide an offensive line in a scheme. You just can't. If they're no good, you can't run or pass, and that is the truth. So we're going to need all 7 of them because the second point I'm going to make about offensive lines is it's an injury-prone position just because of the nature of the animal. So you're going to have to rotate at least a couple times throughout the season. It's very rare to see the same 5 start in all 16 weeks in football or in all 12 to 14 weeks in college football. That's just how it goes. So it's nice to have a pair and a spare, as Coach Tressler used to say, and it looks like we're going to have that. All these things are fantastic. There's one guy that I really, really want to see show out this year. His name is Jeff Okudah. He is a cornerback. I believe he has now been here 3 years. You're talking about a guy who is one of the special athletes we've had here in a while. I would compare him athletically to another first-round pick, and I say another because I think he could be one, in Malik Hooker, but at cornerback. Malik was a little bit bigger, but Okudah has that same ability to jump, to run, and that's why the team was so disappointed in Okudah early on in his career, just because he wasn't producing. That's not his fault to me. When I watch him, I see a kid who's got great instincts. I see a kid who's strong and fast. I just see a kid who was playing in the wrong scheme and who was inexperienced. It takes time to get to that level. I think this year will be a breakout year for him. Be looking for that, and just be looking for this team to, I keep saying this, be patient with this Ohio State football team early on. This is a completely new system, whole new head coach, whole new offensive line. We don't truly have a true QB1 yet. We will at the end of training camp. And it's going to take time. It's not going to look like last year. We don't have Dwayne Haskins at the helm. And I mean that in the sense of it's not going to be a true pocket-style offense like it was last year. We have a mobile quarterback who can throw, but has such fantastic straight-line speed that will have to be utilized. And we're going to have a rebuilt, revamped defense with new coaching staff on both sides of the ball. This is going to be a different football team. I think it'll be a very good one. And by the way, I'm very, very sick of these Michigan folks here discussing how this is going to be their year. I've got some Michigan folks who are basically saying they are sick of Shea Patterson. He can't throw the ball, and when he does, it's only 20 yards and under, and Harbaugh's overrated. And I think we all kind of knew that, which means I'm rambling, but I just need to put it out there before every podcast ends that, Michigan sucks, we don't like them, and they're going to get beat really, really bad. And Harbaugh has never won anything in his entire life as far as being a head coach, no championships. I'm not sure where he gets all of this clout from. I don't know what he actually did to earn it, and I don't see that happen to other coaches. I don't know if it's just his last name, which is also a strange name, but his brother's a fantastic coach and a champion. He is not. And I just want to take a couple seconds every time I have a podcast to bash the team up north. So that's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I thank you for sharing a moment with the 2 Cents Podcast. I'm Jay Richardson.